Welcome back to another episode of the NJ1ST podcast. My name is Ryan McDonald. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and like the video. I'll be bringing a lot more information regarding New Jersey politics in the next couple of months. At the end of this week, I'll be attending A Seat at the Table, New Jersey. I'm excited for that, and I'll share my experiences and whatever information I'm able to get from there with you guys next week. It looks like in mid-May, there is a statewide parental rights rally, May 15th, at the State House in Trenton, New Jersey, working together to restore New Jersey's conservative and Christian values. I was able to speak with Barbara Ames. She is the Morris County Patriot that is hosting this event. She gave me permission to promote it. For citizens from across New Jersey, many organizations, groups, and regions will be joining this huge rally to focus legislators on the issues of parental rights. And might I remind you, Senator Ted Cruz confirmed and proved that the FBI and CIA indeed targeted parents for extremism at Board of Ed meetings, just for getting involved and wanting to know what's going on in their children's curriculum. Whether you are a parent, grandparent, college student, or citizen that is concerned about New Jersey's obscene pornographic sex standards, the trans pick your gender ideology being promoted in our schools without parental consent, critical race theory, Marxism, ESG. The conversation I had with Barbara was great. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's on top of it. She's attending public testimonies to talk about this. It's the same parents and people that are with the Rise New Jersey Board of Ed. I think last year there was 400 or 500 Board of Ed candidates that were elected. That was a wave that was taken in New Jersey. So make sure to mark this down on your calendars, May 15th. It's during the work week. I'm going to try and take off myself. But the point being is that there's legislators there that day. And hopefully, just like we just had down in South Jersey, well, in Trenton, but with the South New Jersey ocean environmental activists, they were able to have a rally and a bill with a moratorium for the wind turbines, for Governor Murphy's wind turbines on the oceans to create the energy, right? The wind farms. So this is an opportunity to couple a legislator with the grassroots activists. Hopefully we can get people to join. If you yourself want to get involved, I highly suggest you calling this number and getting involved. I'll leave the link to this in the description of the YouTube video, but I just wanted to start out this video with some information of how you can get involved in New Jersey. 2 days ago, I attended a TPUSA event at Montclair State University. I was able to listen to Phil Rizzo speak to our youth. There was at least 10 students in the new chapter that they just started up at Montclair State University. And he was able to speak to the students. And it's great that they heard from him and his experience with the 2021 governor run and the 2022 congressional run. It was good for me to hear him actually speak about coming together rather than just splitting the primary ticket. And although I love myself a good primary in debates, as well as Phil Rizzo explains, but in 2021, it was clear that himself, Hirsch Singh, and other candidates split the primary for Jack Ciattarelli to easily win. And he himself, as well as I, know that there were people who did not vote for Jack Ciattarelli in the general just because out of spite from the primary, because all of this. So he spoke to the youth and the people, the Republicans, the conservatives, classical liberals, whatever you'll have it, libertarians at TPUSA, and said that just like in 2022, there was at least 7 candidates in his primary. And he was a great candidate to take on Tom Kean Jr. Tom Kean Jr. won because it split the ticket too much, So he is now supporting and advocating coming together under one candidate, not splitting the ticket. That's what he's going to be promoting and pushing. And I'll see him at A Seat at the Table New Jersey event. George Nader, I think, was a professor there. I'm not sure. I would love to still talk to these people and pick their brains even more. They've just been getting involved more recently as of 2020. If you've been following NJ1ST, I've been active as of 2018, and then I've been active since school. I went to school for political science, so even earlier than that. But it's great to see them get more involved, transparency, talking to the youth, because let me tell you, a lot of NJ GOP Republican leaders, there's not many out there, first of all, but they're not going and speaking to the youth. They're going and speaking at fundraisers. Let's put it that way. After the Montclair State University TPUSA event, I headed on down to Somerset County and Hunterdon County area over on the west side of Jersey. And I was able to meet Mike Pappas. He is a former New Jersey congressman, and he ran in 2021 for Legislative District 16 State Senate. He unfortunately lost, but he will be running again this 2023 for State Senate. And his challengers in the district, the Democrats, are Roy Freeman and Andrew Zwicker. And I remember having a interaction with them both in 2019, I believe, and I have it in my NJ1ST ebook. I'll play it for you right now.
Ryan, are you going to record everything we're saying?
I was recording the whole time as well.
Well,
should I not?
I'm just wondering if it's more comfortable if you.
I don't want to record them. No.
No, if you did, that's the only reason I'm asking.
Oh, right now?
So I'm glad I was able to meet Mike, because I would like to provide more of my work for the Republicans that they can use against Democrats. In 2019, whoever was running against the Democrats, they didn't accept my work. They didn't take that footage that I just showed you. They could have made an ad campaign about it. They could have done anything on social media. I don't know why Republicans don't want that stuff, but here's a video of Mike Pappas with Bill Spadia. Let's listen.
Well, here's the good news. Got another candidate running against what I would describe as one of the most radical, out of touch members of the legislature, honestly, on both sides. The incumbent's name is Andrew Zwicker, and I'm embarrassed to say he's based in my hometown of Princeton. So I am actually in this 16th district, my wife Jody and I, and joining me now, the Republican hopeful, who is from Somerset County. He's got a great shot. He came very, very close in the last election. I believe he's going to take it home this time. Please welcome former United States Congressman Mike Pappas. How you doing, Mike?
Great, Bill. How are you? So glad to be with you today.
Great to have you. Good to see you the other night at Senator Bucco's house. That was a fantastic event. I don't know if you got to try the lobster tails or the oysters, but whew, fantastic place.
I tried the shrimp. That was good.
All right, there you go. So, Mike, let me ask you, tell us first, take us back to the last election, very, very close, closer than anybody predicted. What was the margin of the loss last time?
It was about 2.5%. Very close.
Very close. In a county and district that they drew in order to be safe for the Democrats. So
right.
What are the prospects now? What kind of traction are you getting? And the aside from that is, what will you do differently than Andrew Zwicker?
Well, the district is different than in 2021. Redistricting has actually made it more favorable for me, more of northern Hunterdon County, which I'm very thrilled about. So that helps considerably. The other thing is he has 2 more years of a voting record for me to contrast with what I would do. Just more recently, he had 2 votes. He had 2 opportunities to vote to restore full funding for the school districts that have lost state aid. 2 of them larger towns in the district, his own town of South Brunswick and Hillsborough Township in Somerset County. And he either abstained or stepped out of the room. Unbelievable. He'll tell you that he supported a measure, which is true, that would restore 2/3 of the funding. But when given the chance to support full funding from, I'm told, like a $10 billion state budget surplus.
Yeah, $10 billion.
He was nowhere to be found.
And where was he, Mike? Where was he? Not just the $10 billion budget surplus that we saw because of a surge in tax revenue as everybody reopened and business got back to normal, but the COVID relief money, billions and billions of dollars, and we now know that $500,000 was spent or more on what, 6 SUVs for the governor's fleet, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the president of the Senate. I mean, just a slap in the face. And then most recently, there has been complete silence from Zwicker and the Democrats on the fact that Governor Murphy and his wife spent $500,000 redecorating their offices at the State House, including not just $220,000 in rugs, but one rug worth $114,200 that is sitting in the governor's office. It's the most egregious abuse of the public funds and trust that I have seen. I don't think this would happen in any other state. Democrats are silent. What do you say?
It's an example of hypocrisy when so many liberal Democrats will accuse Republicans of being elitists. What more can I say than what you've described? I read the article in the Star Ledger, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, and had photographs. And I've been in those rooms. I've been in the what is now a reception room, which was a room that was used for many public events. And now they've chosen to use it for just reception purposes. And, I guess that's his prerogative, but it's also our prerogative to react to it. And I think your point is well taken. It is a demonstration of what their priorities are. And the priorities in Andrew Zwicker's case is not to provide full funding for the school districts in his legislative district that have lost literally millions of dollars. Yeah. South Brunswick, where he's from, something like $7 or $8 million they have lost in school aid because of people like him.
Well, and the governor playing politics with this. How many Republican areas lost more funding disproportionate to the Democratic areas? While places like Toms River, other Republican areas got whacked, places like Newark, where you're spending, I believe the number somewhere between $30,000 and $35,000 per student. It may even be more than that. And how many of those kids can't read and write? How many of those kids never graduate? How many of those kids end up on the street or barely go to school as it is? Highest cost per pupil. They get $1.2 billion from the state coffers and added $110 million this year. So your point is spot on, Mike. Let's just really quick in the minute I have left talk about crime. I've been saying this now for a year. That bail reform is completely misguided, that the idea that we've created a turnstile for criminals who beat their wives, steal cars, break into homes, threaten people, commit crimes, but their bail score doesn't add up. So within a couple hours, they're back out on the street. I'd like to see bail reform completely suspended in the name of public safety until they can figure out how they were originally going to solve the problem, where a couple of kids got caught up on the wrong side and didn't have $300 to get out. But the Democrats have said nothing about this. I mean, short of a few. Vingo Powell, one of the few Democrats who have actually said we need to address this, but nothing from your opponent.
I don't think you'll hear anything from him, and that's part of the problem. He takes a rather dismissive attitude about things that really matter in our communities. Support for law enforcement and a system that certainly provides under our Constitution rights for those that are accused, but victims also need to be protected and from the exposure to vulnerability that many of them have been devastated, and they seem to feel that there's a system and people that establish the procedures are not looking out for them. Yeah. That's got to change.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then maybe eventually we'll get to taking some of that surplus and fixing the 482 roads and bridges, where the bridges that are in total disrepair, considered structurally deficient by the federal government, could in imminent danger of collapsing, and crickets from the Democrats. Mike, are you using a campaign website? Are you telling people to go to the Somerset Republican Party? Where do you want people to go?
I have a Facebook page. It's Mike Pappas for NJ State Senate, and people can learn about the campaign, can volunteer, can make a contribution. Any contribution is helpful.
Great. And I can tell you that we are going to come in with some support with digital advertising, et cetera, with our Elect Common Sense. And, our PAC is going to be influential and helpful as we target some of these districts, and certainly by our conversation that we've had before, you were at the top of that list. So, Mike, thank you. Thanks for stepping back into this. Best to your wife, Sage. I know that after you have that run through in Washington, to get dragged back in and now run for the second time because you were so close last time. You should have been in the Senate already. It takes a lot. It's a Herculean effort. I get it. And I want to thank you for that, taking that personal sacrifice on behalf of the rest of us.
Well, thank you. And Bill, I want to be your state senator.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you. I'll be calling. You know, I'm a pain in the neck constituent. I got a lot of questions. All right, Mike, you take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The event that I attended where I met Mike Pappas was Hunterdon Republican Women's Federation Club, and they did the policy research for, I believe Andrew Zwicker is sponsoring a bill that allows transgender for the youth, I think. So they do their due diligence and work that way. And for health freedom advocates or COVID pandemic executive order warriors, people who take on Governor Murphy, you can look at Twitter accounts like Awoke Zombie New Jersey or Dana Weffer. There's many other accounts, but things that I've done myself is policy research for Black Lives Matter today, which way Republicans vote on that, LGBT curriculum. There were Republicans that voted on that. As well as the current bills of 12-week abortion bans, the heartbeat bill, as well as the repeal of the ERPO, extreme risk protection order, red flag gun laws. These are bills that Edward Durr sponsored that no Republican is joining on. If Mike Pappas wins in 2023, hopefully he'll join Edward Durr in these sponsoring of these bills that we need. And, you know, hopefully he wins re-election in 2025 then and joins Bill Spadea in a primary for governor of New Jersey. And Bill Spadea is going to be taking on Jack Ciattarelli in 2025 for governor of New Jersey as a Republican. And speaking of former Republican governor, Chris Christie has just spoken out against Ron DeSantis and his attack on Disney World. So let's hear what this guy's got to say.
I don't think Ron DeSantis is a conservative based on his actions towards Disney. I mean, you know, where are we headed here now? That if you express disagreement in this country, the government is allowed to punish you? To me, that's what I always thought liberals did. And now all of a sudden, here we are participating in this with a Republican governor. And
so I'm not even going to open up that can of worms of Chris Christie saying the no true Scotsman fallacy of not being conservative enough, saying the other person is a liberal, you know, the pot calling the kettle black, throwing throwing stones from a glass house. I can keep going. But I wanted to show Chris Christie there and speaking that way. Whatever you have to say about the DeSantis or Trump thing, I wanted to show Chris Christie because from New Jersey, we know Chris Christie. And he was, Trenton News Network reported. Remember to go follow Trenton News Network. Good information there. Governor Chris Christie at Senator Testa's fundraiser last night, as if Testa needs more money, right? This is Eric Simonson, LD1, Senator Testa, LD1, Antoine McClellan, LD1. So Senator Testa was marching with Black Lives Matter. Eric Simonson is a very intelligent gentleman, it seems. But I believe he and Antoine McClellan voted for Black Lives Matter Day, the bill. And I believe actually they also voted for the LGBT curriculum, just like some other Republicans did for the first 9th through 12th grade, which is high school. So there was first a bill, 9 through 12. Assembly voted on it. Some Republicans voted on it. It went to the Senate where they amended it, kindergarten through 12. And that's where every single Republican said, no way. But there were some Republicans that voted for the high school LGBT curriculum. And I've made videos of that plenty before. Here we also have in attendance Bill Palatucci. Thank you, Trenton News Network, for pointing this out next to Jack Ciattarelli. All these names that I'm saying, they matter. So let's go over them again. This is the team. Testa, Christie. These guys are innocent, to be honest. But Eric Simonson, Antoine McClellan, Jack Ciattarelli, Bill Palatucci, right there. So that's the lineup for 2025. And to be honest, before it even 2024, they don't want Trump in. Why do I say that? Because you just go to Bill Palatucci's Twitter account, like I've done before on the NJ1ST podcast. It's just nothing new. He is a never Trumper and still is, and he has no New Jersey Republicans, no New Jersey conservatives, grassroots patriots coming to his page, giving them his opinion. Only some, I'll show you, but posting things like Mike Lindell's firm told to pay $5 million in prove Mike wrong election fraud challenge. The Dominion thing with the Fox just happened, I believe. So he's definitely beating his horn. Who knows? Governor Kemp is the best, has the best report and remarks. Governor Kemp delivered a scathing rebuke of Donald Trump on Saturday as he urged national Republican leaders to set aside the former president's obsession with his 2020 election defeat and focus on the issues that can attract broader support. Every Republican should read Governor Kemp. Governor Kemp, yay. If Republicans can't win Georgia, as Governor Kemp has done twice. Yeah, I remember Governor Kemp talking at the World Economic Forum as well. But let's look at this one. He has some responses on this one. And NJGOP is completely out of touch with Republican voters. Once again, Rhino Republican opinions don't matter. Absolutely clueless when it comes to Republican voters. Trump lost Georgia for us 4 times, and you can't handle that reality. Crappy candidates lost Georgia. That and weak Rhino leadership. Tom Kaine Jr. off to a great start towards re-election with 800,000. Kaine has more than Gottheimer. Trump and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene are shrinking the party. They can't even win the state of Georgia. They want to repeat 2020 and 2022. So this guy's really, really big time never Trumper. Rizzo loses small claims court, owes Morris County $1,000. Like this is what this guy's posting. Any Republican but Trump. Tim Scott. Any Republican but Trump. Nikki Haley. Here is a new upload from the New Jersey Constitutional Republicans, J.R. Carmen with Bill Palatucci. They talk about the history of American Republican Party. They're proud Republicans themselves. And let's listen to what they have to say.
This year, 2023, is the 100th anniversary of the swearing in of one Calvin Coolidge upon the death of William Harding. And I hear Republicans in New Jersey continually say, well, we're in the minority. We need a majority, which is what we both want desperately. However, we have to remember, and I think our representatives should remember, Bill, that Calvin Coolidge said it's more important to kill bad bills than it is to pass good ones. And as long as Republicans are identifying the weaknesses or even the injustices of certain legislation proposed by the Democrats, they should be talking about and working towards killing bad law, shouldn't they?
Absolutely. You're exactly right. Calvin Coolidge, one of my favorite presidents, and some great books written about him.
I've worked with J.R. Carmen of the New Jersey Constitutional Republicans in the past, and he's a fine gentleman, but he supports people just like that. He supports Republicans who vote on bad bills. He supports Republicans who vote with Democrats for re-election, and he doesn't say the truth about how they vote. He's more interested in educating the people, and that's fine. I say come watch this whole entire video. It's 30 minutes long of Bill Palatucci and J.R. Carmen talking about great education of the Republican history in America. But you know, I've been in the game a little bit. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Going to end this episode of the NJ1ST podcast with one final thing concerning the bipartisan House group unveiling a plan to avoid a U.S. default. So the Problem Solver Caucus, which I hear about so often. This is infamously Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, but it's right next to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Bucks County area. And he is a Rhino, never Trumper. He, like Jeff Van Drew in the beginning, voted with Democrats and against Republicans. He's a Republican. But Jeff Van Drew now votes more with Republicans, but they kind of vote the same. Jeff Van Drew and Brian Fitzpatrick are kind of the same as Republicans. So that means that this guy's kind of a Democrat. Jeff Van Drew, 30-year elected Democrat. This is Josh Gottheimer up in North New Jersey, CD5, Congressional District 5, and he is a Democrat that appears to be a moderate or even on the right wing, a Democrat, but in reality, he kowtows and bows and takes the money, lobbyist money from lefties, big pharma, big big lobbyist groups and radical leftists. He supports radical bills. So this has to do with the raising of the debt ceiling. And if they don't raise the debt ceiling, I guess we're at risk of defaulting. The problem-solving caucus revealed a 4-step plan to suspend the debt ceiling through December 31st. And the remaining steps are followed after through February 28th of 2025, after the 2024 elections. So that's interesting that it's such a long, timed out, planned out bill. That's very interesting because, as well as the indictments that's happening for Donald Trump, they're trying to make those court dates, I believe, around the time of the election or something like that. I remember reading. So for second, it's to establish an independent commission. We know how that went with the January 6th commission, independent, with Adam Kinzinger, right, and Liz Cheney. Geez, America. Modeled after the Pentagon panel that determines which military base to close, to recommend a package to stabilize the debt deficit, which would be voted on by Congress. That's something I think I remember listening to on CNBC, that they wanted to put it in the hands of the Congress, because rather than Biden, I suppose, adopts control for the 2024 federal budget to stabilize the deficit in the near term. And the fourth one is to change the budget process, requiring appropriation bills and budgets to go through the full committee process, having the Government Accountability Office put out an annual fiscal State of the Nation report, and mandating a mid-year budget report from the president. So I think that's what it is that these 4 steps from the problem-solving caucus, which is from 31 Republicans and 32 Democrats in the House. This is shared on Axios. The article is shared by Axios, the publication. It is so that the executive administration, Biden, just doesn't go through with it, and that they can go through with it parliamentary with Congress. So that's what you can look for the next coming weeks. And be sure to come back to the NJ1ST podcast YouTube channel, subscribe, like the videos. I'll have more content coming up of relevant information and events coming up. Hope to see you there. Thanks.